We gardena in jerdagum, theodkinninga thrimje frunnen, Usa edelinga ellen fremedon, oft shield shaving, shadene threatum, monium.
Beowulf. Written in Old English, Beowulf is the oldest surviving epic poem in the English language. Originally untitled, the poem began to be called by the name of its Scandinavian hero in the 19th century. Why a poem with a Scandinavian hero exists in Old English is a mystery. Although historical elements run through the poem, both the hero and the story are fiction. Beowulf was probably composed as an elegy for a king who died in the 7th century and developed through many retelling before it was written down in the 11th century. The setting drew us to a place and time when warrior tribes fought against one another, when all that really mattered was not if you died, but how and when. The first action takes place in Denmark, ruled by King Hrothgar. There, in the great meadow of the king Heorot, Beowulf succeeds in mortally wounding a monster that has been terrorizing the king and his men for 12 years. Later, Beowulf dives into a misty lake and fights against the monster's mother. The last part of the poem takes place in the land of the Geats in Sweden, where an elderly Beowulf confronts a dragon terrorizing his own land. The poem is divided into 3 parts, linked by the presence of the same hero. King Hrothgar of Denmark has built a great hall called Heorot, where his warriors can gather, but a terrible monster, Grendel, frightens the Danes every night. A young Scandinavian warrior at the court of the Geats decided to sail to Denmark with a small company of men, determined to defeat Grendel. Beowulf sleeps in the hall, and when Grendel makes his nightly raids, he fights against the monster and kills him. But Grendel's mother, who lives in a desolate lake, comes to Heorot seeking revenge for her son. Beowulf travels to the Murky Lake, where he dives into the water and succeeds in killing Grendel's mother. Then he sails back to Scandinavia and becomes king of the Geats. He rules for 50 years, bringing prosperity to his country. When he is an old man, he has to fight against the fire-breathing dragon. This monster is trying to destroy the country after discovering the theft of a treasure it has been guarding for a long time. Beowulf fights the dragon, and with the aid of Wiglaf, he kills the monster, but is mortally wounded. According to Beowulf's wishes, his warriors burn his body on a huge funeral pyre and then bury him in a barrow overlooking the sea. Beowulf describes a warrior society in which the relationship between the leader or king and his warriors is founded on loyalty. They defend the interests of their king in return for material provisions, weapons, armor, gold, silver, food and drink. It is a world ruled by fate and destiny. The poem is an epic because the setting of the story covers vast lands and far-off places, and the action consists of brave deeds. The struggles the poem describes are the classic challenges of good against evil. Beowulf contains the typical elements of the epic style. There is a lot of repetition. Direction and reports are repeated, and speeches are often followed by phrases such as "thus he spoke," to emphasize that the words are those of a character and not of the narrator. The language is elevated, and there are long lists, especially of leaders and their military troops, as well as references to mythical and Christian elements. Lots of alliteration and stock formulae, parallelism and antithesis recur throughout the poem.